Hi folks, my name is Richard Holden, and in this episode we're going to show you how to make a festive bread and butter pudding using panettone. We're going to show you how to cook this on your barbecue, whether it's gas, charcoal or whatever, how to set up the barbecue for the correct temperature and how to maintain that during the cook, and how to make a delicious dessert that not many people will expect you to be able to do on your barbecue. Our ingredients for this dish, really simple. We've got our panettone cut down into triangles. We've got some double cream, some whole milk, caster sugar. What else have we got? We've got a vanilla pod that we're going to infuse the milk and the cream with, and we've got some melted butter and some sultanas. So our dish here, our large oval dish, we're going to start out by just layering in our slices. And you want to keep these pretty flat to begin with. It's only really the last layer that you want to be kind of standing quite proud. So we'll just take these, lay these in. That'll do. After the first layer, take a handful of your sultanas, scatter those over, and then we carry on. We turn the dish around at this point, and another piece in there, and then we start the process again. Now, you may need a whole panettone, just depending on the size of your dish and the size of your panettone. You may not. So one thing that I like to do with panettone, if I'm not making bread and butter pudding, or if I have got any bits left over, don't knock this till you try it, but dunk it in your Prosecco or your champagne on Christmas Day morning. It's just one of those little treats. Why not? So, final layer going in. Let's leave that little piece to last. We are going to need the whole thing here. So, just make this fit. There we go. Last piece in. Then we give that a good press down. Want that to be down below the level of the dish. And then in here I've just got 50 grams of butter that's been melted on the barbecue. And I'm just going to pour this over. Trying to get that as even as I can. And this really is just a cheat's way of buttering every slice. So, now that we've got this pan empty, let's just pop this tray back to one side and we'll come back to that very, very soon. Our scales here, we need to make our custard. So, balance that off. And we're going to go in with 400 mils, easy. We're going to go in with 400 mils of whole milk and equal quantity of double cream. As long as you have 800 mils at the end of this, you're pretty good to go. Now, some people may be wondering why I'm weighing this as opposed to using a measuring jug. It's just whichever you've got. I prefer to weigh things. A measuring jug is just one extra piece of equipment that you've got to find and wash up. Whereas if you've already got your pan out, the butter is in the dish. We're not adding an ingredient here that isn't already in the dish. So we've got our, that's already warm, so just be careful with that. We've already got our butter in there, so like I say, we're not adding another ingredient to the dish. We're just saving on some washing up. Split our vanilla bean down, our vanilla pod, and then just use the back of the knife to scrape out those seeds. And that just goes in like so. And then we will take the other side. There we go. Take the other side of this pod, scrape that down. No, I've already scraped that first side down. There we go. Vanilla pod in. Last little bit of vanilla seed goes in there as well. Just tip that down, just knock that down into the cream and milk mixture. And then this is going to go back over to our barbecue. Our barbecue is set up at 200 degrees C. We've got a roasting indirect heat set up on here. We're using briquettes. We've got heat in the right, heat in the left, and nothing down the center of that barbecue. So that's going to go on. I'm going to just edge it over towards one of the banks of coals because this could be heated on a hob. So we're just going to warm that through, give that about 5-10 minutes, let it come up to temperature. We want to get this to the point where it starts to steam on the top. That means that that vanilla is really going to start to open up and infuse that milk and cream mixture for when we put it onto our panettone. Looking at our little pan in the barbecue, that is nicely warmed up, and it's been just sitting there for the last 10 minutes, just keeping nice and warm, so that's nicely infused. What we need to do now is put some sugar into our eggs. So we've got 8 egg yolks in the bowl, and once we get this balanced, and Ted. Oh, sugar always sticks together. Right, so where are we? 175 grams, 80. So, right, there we go. 175 grams. Start whisking this together. Let's take this off the scales, and then it doesn't move. And then what we need to do in here is just find that vanilla pod, remove that, just pop that to one side. If you want to do something with that, keep that, dry it out, rinse it under a tap, drain it on some paper towel, and just pop that into a bowl of sugar, and you can make your own vanilla sugar. So we're going to focus on our eggs and our sugar. So that goes on there like so. That's quite hot, so we're not going to pick that up, are we? No, we're going to use a tea towel. Now this, just pour this in nice and slowly with the hot milk and cream mixture going onto the eggs. If we add this too quickly, we'll just get scrambled egg, and that's not really the flavour of a bread and butter pudding. So you can smell the vanilla. It smells fantastic. Last little bit, go quite quick because you don't want the vanilla seeds to stay in the bottom of the pan. That can just go down there out of our way. Make sure that this is nicely incorporated. Glass bowl's wonderful for this. You can just see any little bits that are left on the side of the bowl. There we go. Tap that off. Now we're ready to come over to our dish. So let's just start to pour this all over, keeping it in the bowl, in the dish, should I say. Oops, in the dish, as I just said, sorry. There we go, right, so that's all in there. Let's just wipe that down. There we go, right. So we're just going to press this down. Just want to make sure that those top layers are nicely soaked into that custard mixture. I'm going to leave this for about 5 minutes just to soak in, and then we'll come back and we'll put it on the barbecue. Right, we've got the barbecue set up for a 180 to 200 degrees C roasting heat. Fuel in the left, fuel in the right, nothing in the center. Some bread and butter pudding recipes that you see will say to just pop the dish straight in the oven, or straight on the barbecue in this case, without any bain-marie. Now, it's an egg custard, and I quite like to just have that little bit of extra level of comfort. So I've taken a slightly larger tray to our dish. I'm going to pop that in the center, and then in here I've got some water from the kettle that we're just going to fill this outer tray about halfway. And this will just add, it'll just make sure that that egg custard bakes nice and steadily. So that goes in there. Lid down, vents open top and bottom. 30 to 40 minutes, we'll come back and take a look. 40 minutes later, and if we have a look, just have a little press on the top of the bread and butter pudding. It's got a nice bounce. You can tell that the bread, the panettone, is soaked up that custard, and the custard is set. It's time to take this out. Be very careful, because obviously you have got hot water very close to the handles, and this dish is going to be super hot. Just take that out and look at that. Oh, it smells fantastic. You've got to give this a try. You can make this if you don't have panettone and you've got some leftover croissants or some brioche. Absolutely go ahead and make that exactly the same recipe for the custard and the cooking process on the barbecue. But as they say, you know what I'm going to say, the proof is in the pudding. So let's have a taste of this. Oh, just need a little bit of cream to pour over that, but I'm not worried about that right now because I just want to taste. I'm not going to say anything until I've had a taste. Oh my word. That is a hot Christmas dessert in a mouthful. That is delicious. You need to give this a try. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. All the recipe and the links for any of the products that we've used in this video can be found in the caption below. If you want to be kept up to date with future videos, give us a subscribe and then you'll always be notified. Have a fantastic Christmas.